Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, good.
Well, my cough is just about is kind of under control
Oh,
today.
good.
Yeah, it's just I was a little worried because I have to go back to work today. I'm just like I wanted it to be, but apparently this cough kind of hangs around.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing, with like I was just thinking about the weather right now with it being gloomy and wet and rainy. It's like, ugh. Um, it doesn't help, with anybody trying to get like over a
Well,
cold or, things like that.
um,
Okay. Put the invite out there
yeah.
and we'll see who can pop on.
So
So
I've been
what
trying to figure out because I got my results the other day because I did a beforehand, like last week or the week before, I did my A1C. So I just
Mhm.
want to see where they're at.
Oh, you
Because right
okay.
now is not the best time to test anyway because I was on all that cold medicine, and
Mhm.
a lot of that cold medicine doesn't that sway results with A1C because you've been on that cold medicine and stuff.
Not necessarily A1C, but your glucose can, if and especially if you've been on a steroid. So a
Okay.
steroid is going to jack up your sugar results. So if somebody's like, oh, I went and had my blood sugar tested and it was super high, that's what a corticosteroid could do. It won't necessarily mess with your A1C because that's the average of the last 3 months. And so
Yeah.
unless you've been on corticosteroids for 3 months, like that's a little bit different. But I feel like it's kind of early to get an A1C done because didn't you just have one last month or
No, it
was
was
it
like three. It
February?
was it was like 3 months ago.
Because I thought it was during my cruise, which was middle of February. So that was
Maybe it
2 months
was.
ago.
Okay. Well, I'll see what it was. I thought it was in January.
Yeah. I mean, because that's when you started your new med, right?
Yeah.
Find out what day you started that because that
Yep.
go off of 3 months from that. That's what I would
Okay.
do.
Okay.
So good morning, Gabby. Feel like it's been forever. I seriously think about you all the time and I'm like, we need to catch up, but I've been running around like crazy. So my life can settle down.
Good
Hey, Gab-
morning. I
hey,
know
Gabby.
it's not going to though. It's just going to get busier and busier with it being almost summer.
We got
Yes.
almost 3 months to the day. So tomorrow is 3 months to the day till celebration. And then we're moving right after celebration. So
Oh, where are you guys moving?
Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. Oh my gosh, that's I just had someone else move there too. That's exciting. How do you guys feel about it?
Well, we lived there for 9 years. And so it's like, in some senses, it's like going back to a home, but it wasn't like, it's not like my soul, like I love California. Like this is like my personality, things like that. But like it'll be fine. There's just, they're not as progressive, I feel like. And so it's a little bit more like when I go there and I'm like, oh, I used to be an IV concierge IV nurse, and they're like, what is that? Or if I say, have you ever heard of nootropics? They're like, they're just a little bit behind. So we'll see how it goes. But I hear that they're making some progress, but yay. So
That's
it'll be
exciting.
busy, but yeah. Welcome on everybody. Let me, oh yeah, share my screen. I pulled it up and everything. Got it all ready to go before I even dropped off my kids today. Because I was like, it feels like it's been forever since we've had these community calls. And you know, a couple of us have been talking about do we need to change things up a little bit? Timing, different things about how we've been doing this stuff, but haven't quite gotten to an exact, um, definite like this is going to change. This is going to change. Wednesdays seem to be a little bit harder for me in the morning because like I typically have like a 9 a.m. call, and it was fine when I could take the 9 a.m. call from home, but it just keeps seeming like I need to get into work. So that's just kind of where we're at. So we'll see if anything changes up, but for now, we'll just keep on trucking. So I'm also starting with a new virtual assistant again. And so they'll be able to help me kind of update some of our like images and like get things rolling again. And then when we can do campaigns, they can do all the background stuff for me so that it doesn't feel like, I can't invite people because I'm too busy making all the flyers and posts and stuff like that. So they can help me with all of that. So does anybody have any wins they want to share this week? Anything fun, exciting? Doesn't have to be, health or nutrition wise. Like, I feel like it's been a while since some of us have caught up. So share all your goodies. Alexa thought I was talking to her. Alexa, stop.
Oh, I'll share just a win really quick. A quick change that I did was taking the Cytoactives. It's like resveratrol, like all the other things. I totally did a rehaul on my nutrition, but taking it right before my workout, because actually my doctor recommended it, and it's made a huge difference in my energy. So if you guys aren't doing that, here, let me show you. I don't even know if I'll like say it right. I'll show you which one it is. It's this one. You guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's helped me so much. I'm obsessed and I love it. And my body is just super grateful for it. So that's like my little win, is just the little shifts that you can do to make things even better and make yourself feeling even better and have more energy.
Yeah. So like, there's so many little nuggets like that within our catalog that you're like, I used to buy like the vitamin packs, and like I didn't always notice a big difference from the whole vitamin pack. So then I went down and I was like, okay, I'm just going to get the multivitamin. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw in the IsoMega in there too. Oh, I'm going to take the Isogenesis also. And then I'm like, I might as well just buy the whole pack. Like I'm, 2 away from the whole thing. So, but you can't, but the cool thing is that you can buy everything in that vitamin pack separately and just pick and choose what works for you. So Cytoactives. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, I've been doing some research on the side about some other, types of vitamins, but before I start taking any of those supplements, I want to check and see if it's in any of ours, at the, levels and stuff that this other doctor's recommending for like, the proper fats that we're getting. And just, actually heard something interesting about okra. Okra is a like super powerful fiber and like probiotic, prebiotic type food. And if you take it right before food, it's a great digestive enzyme. And so you can buy okra like in pill form if you don't like the slimy vegetable. First time I ever had okra was in basic training, and I was like, what is this? We don't have that back where I'm from. And so every once in a while I'll have it, but usually it comes fried. So kind of defeats the purpose. So probably be a little bit easier to take okra. Oh, there you go. She's got the full pack. Yep. Yeah, I know. Like we,
Thanks for the reminder.
yeah, we take so much stuff that it's like, or we buy, so much stuff. Sometimes we're like, oh, let's just switch things up a little bit. Let's try this and that. And we got caught without shakes. And my husband sometimes will take shakes for snacks, and I'm just like, that's a hefty snack there, buddy, but that's his goals, So I tried buying him the Isoline Pro, and when he has whey these days, it sometimes affects his gut in different ways. And so we ordered 1 canister of the Isoline Pro, and he's like, actually, I really liked it. Let's keep ordering it. But I'd already ordered a whole bunch of the other on the last deal, a whole bunch of the other regular plant-based ones and stuff. And so he was like, I want more of the Pro. And I'm like, you're going to have to wait, because we got enough shakes for like a couple months here, because I hate running out. So yeah.
Does the Pro have as many flavors?
No, I think it's just
No.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I remember. It's been a while since I've been on it. So
Yeah.
Are you talking about the Isoline Pro?
Yeah.
yeah.
There's like 3 flavors:
Oh, there's 3.
strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate.
Okay.
And we get affected by the whey too, but we incubate them, and we actually like them better. And the taste is better. I don't know why, but it's better.
I'm gonna tell Brad to do that. Because I remember you telling me about the incubating because the ER shred, and I didn't even think about it because we were just trying it as an experiment and it didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, it's really good. So we like to do the pros now just because we like how it tastes.
Little tips and tricks that you find. So
See, I would like to do that, but I feel like sometimes I like how quick it is. You know, like I'm on the run, shake it up for 30 seconds, and down the hatch it goes. How long do you incubate it for, Elaine? Like 45 minutes?
Well, honestly, my husband does all the work, and I just come home and it's already in the fridge for me.
I love it.
So he wakes up and he does all his stuff and he incubates it like for about 45 minutes. But like while he's doing his, he'll like just do mine also, and then he like it's already set for me in the fridge, so I get there and I drink it. So it's the same kind of. It's actually faster for me because I don't even have to mix anything because he's already done it.
That's awesome.
you guys remember like back in the day where they were like, you have to drink your shake within 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And like now I've heard like the scientists are like, that's like not true. You don't have to. But it still like rings in my mind sometimes because like I'll make the shake and then I'll be like an hour later, I'm like, oh, I gotta drink this. And I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't like ruin anything. But I mean, still tastes great. But yeah, so we can kind of jump into today's topic. If anybody else has anything else they want to share or go any further deeper into the incubating, we can, but I figured, medication is something that we're all faced with. It is becoming to be more of a controversial subject. So some people feel like, medication is a big pharma thing. Some people feel like it is, a quick fix, that you can be helping your body with more natural ways, things like that. So there are people that have their opinions about whether or not to use medication. But from my medical background and standpoint, there is times that people need to have medication for, depending on the severity. Now, I always tell people, you have to look at the risk versus benefit. What's the risk of not being on the medication? What's the benefit of being on the medication? And you weigh that. So anytime that you go into a doctor at any point and they start talking about a procedure or medication, always ask them like the risk versus benefit. Like that is a very medical term like to use. And so they'll say, here are the risk factors, like you could have bleeding, you could have, GI upset, this and that. And then you get to decide, because it's your body and your life, if it's worth it. And so a lot of these side effects for medications, I promise you, I have given medications, especially in long-term care facilities, but also in the ER, where it's been 27 pills at once. And there's this, meme that goes out, and it was like a t-shirt for a while, where it's like, I take this medication for my, disease here, which causes this side effect, which I need this medication for, which causes that side effect, which needs this medication, which needs that medication. And it like goes all the way down. So really it's like you have one diagnosis, but you have to take all these other medications to help combat that. And so I'm going to use like my stepdad right now for an example. We just put him on hospice, and it's a beautiful thing. We are very thankful. And it's been a long time coming. We're very very happy, but it is like a nervous, it feels like, this was one of the last steps here and stuff, but he's in great condition. He's in great mood and all that stuff. His lungs are not gonna be able to last forever. A couple months ago, mom calls me up and says, hey, can we go through his medication? And I said, yeah, you really should be doing this with your doctor, your pharmacist, but I can help you explain what each one is. So she pulled out each medication, and, sometimes it's hard to say what the med is. Like there's some medications that it would take me forever to like say correctly. And I'd sound like such a, like incompetent nurse, where I'd be like, like trying to sound it out, but they're just hard to say. And that's, sometimes there's a brand name that's a lot easier, instead of saying acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, you can say Tylenol, but like some people will be more proper and be like acetaminophen. So we go through all the medication and, we're talking about what each one's for. And I'm like, he takes like 2 or 3 for his stomach. And some of them were not prescribed. They were over the counter. And one of them actually was called stomach pills. That was from CVS or Walgreens or something. And I'm like, that should be gone through with your doctor if you're going to take medications, from the counter along with prescription medications, because there are drug interactions, and it's super easy to find out if there's a drug interaction. You can either ask the pharmacist or you can Google it. There's a million websites out there. I promise you, your doctors and nurses are Googling medicine all the time. Like, there's so many meds out there. Somebody will say, I'm taking this med. I am definitely going right into Google as soon as I can to find out, what it is and what it interacts with. And sometimes medication will interact with things like grapefruit juice, or like he was taking an herb like St. John's wort or saw palmetto, like things like that will interact with heart medication. There is also certain side effects for medication, like if you're taking certain like enhancement type medications that can affect heart medications. And I won't go into too many details, but I have some funny like ER stories and stuff where somebody came in having it's not funny because, somebody went through a hardship, but somebody that was taking a heart medication and then took a medication for some fun, or, a drug or something, and it would like put them in the ER. So anyway, the side effects are sometimes what you can take care of better with natural substances. Now, we don't cure, treat, prevent any disease or illness processes in Isagenix, right? Like that's something we all just like know by heart. But anecdotally, we have seen a lot of straight up miracles happen. And so when you're talking to people about what we offer and what we show, things like that, if they start talking really medical and they're like, oh, I have, Hashimoto's, or I have, ulcerative colitis or different things like that, the best thing to do is to just like ask them, how confident are they in what they're currently taking and how it's working, things like that. And if they're like, well, I'm taking all this medication, it's not helping, and they're looking for alternatives, I kind of bring up a couple things. Number one, if they're like going down the direction of, I need to ask my doctor before I take anything, I will, depending on my relationship with them, ask them if they talk to their doctor every time they go to McDonald's or every time they go to the grocery store and put anything in their cart, because we are food grade. And so if they're checking with their doctor every time they grab Cheeto Puffs or, a spaghetti sauce, then absolutely check with your doctor about this as well. But when it does come to vitamins, and Sarah and I have had this conversation, like, how do you know if you're getting enough or too much? Like, how do you know if you are overdoing it with vitamin C or overdoing it with, any of the other types of vitamins? And we don't know unless you have those side effects that are presenting as overflow. I have spent time looking at what does too much vitamin C look like? What does too much, vitamin B12 look like? And the amounts of vitamin C and B12 that you need in order for your body to like go over the limit is ridiculous. Like nobody is taking any of that. Even if you take all of the Isagenix products in one day, like you are still not going over that. And it's like seizures and it's like big side effects that aren't like, oh, I'm having runny stool. Like it's nothing like that. It's all massive. Like you have heart palpitations and QR, prolonged QR on your rhythm and things like that. So it's typically something else that's causing, if somebody feels like they're, taking too many vitamins. But if their doctor said, hey, I'm prescribing you on this, this autoimmune disease type medication like Humira, and they are concerned about you know, different vitamins and things like that. Just tell them, like, talk to your doctor, just take a picture of the nutrition label. I always tell them, like, don't go in there with like I'm about to start a network marketing product. Like, just say, hey, this is something that I'm looking into. Will you look at the nutrition label? Let me know what you think. Like, if you want to know their opinion on network marketing or on the company of Isagenix, then cool, if you trust them like that. But not every doctor is going to have an opinion or will have already made up their mind before they even went through med school to decide if this is a good product or not. I worked with doctors that were like never recommended anything that was network marketing because they had one bad experience before. And so I just typically don't go to them about that type of stuff. I'm not going to go to my doctor and be like, hey, should I have okra as a digestive enzyme? Like, they don't know. They only take one course in their entire time as a doctor on nutrition. And so coming back to medications, just always remember, if they ask you about, our products and medication side effects, they do a little bit your own research, talk to your doctor if you want to, but like, you get to make that decision. And some medications you don't actually even see kick in until you've been on it for 6 to 12 weeks. That's the same with some of our stuff too, unfortunately. Like, some of our things are instantaneous, like you take the pre-workout and you feel it right away, or, you take a nootropic and you feel it most of the time right away. But the collagen, it takes sometimes 6 to 12 weeks. The multivitamins, the Isagenesis, sometimes that takes a little bit longer. Like, so everything's a little bit different. So I just like to talk to them real talk, but does anybody have any questions or any stories or like, anything pertaining to medication in general? Anecdotes?
I can share my story really quick, and I feel like Lisa King would be a good one too, because I know part of her story is where she was able to like heal her body to get to the point where it was off medication, and I just always find that so beautiful. Like you said, Sadie, like there's a time and a place where some people truly need it to move on and be able to live just and be happy. And the doctor that I talked to recently, she's more holistic. She's not against medication. I think she's got a really good balance. And then even supplements, it's like a lot of times, I know for me, I just had expensive peaks. My body wasn't absorbing it and it wasn't catered to what my body needed. And so there's like all these checks and balances and everything we do, and what works for, me, for example, is not going to work for someone else, for example, but just knowing yourself. And so I went in, actually, my doctor, let's see, my daughter was born in April. So it was like probably 3 summers ago now, or 2 summers ago. And we like went through, I was having crazy fatigue. I wore a heart monitor for a while just to make sure it wasn't like a heart issue. And long story short, she diagnosed me with depression and said that's where my fatigue was coming from. And of course she offered me medication, and I just decided I wanted to try some other things. So I actually went and did a Dutch test, and it measured all of my hormones, and I had an estrogen dominance, and my testosterone was low, and my B12 vitamin was low, which I thought was fascinating because I did our whole packs of vitamins, AM and PM packs, and I did 2 shakes a day, along with like all of the other products we do with the hydrate. And I'm like, wow, how am I still B vitamin 12 deficient? And it's because I wasn't absorbing it. So one thing that I do a little bit differently is I actually eat my meal. Talk about like, you have to eat your shakes within so many minutes. They also always said, eat your shakes, just your shakes, don't eat it with any food. And that actually doesn't work for me because my body just flushes it out. It doesn't absorb it. So I actually have to eat it with a banana or blend a banana in it, things like that, to actually be absorbing the nutrients. And that's made a huge difference for me in my energy. And I just want to like share with you guys, it's so like, you have to find your own peace with whatever you're doing and not be swayed by what works for somebody else. So for me, it was tweaking my nutrition, doing things like the Happy Lamp, and really just getting out in the sunshine. So I would just say, like, if you're looking at going on a medication for something and just kind of figuring out, because they do have a lot of side effects. We always laugh when on like the TV with the advertisements, and it's like, do this, and then in the small print it's like, may cause death and bleeding, stools, and like all these things. I'm like, I'll take my itchy kappa skin, But if you're trying to figure out your balance, just like, have you done everything from a natural, holistic route possible? And if so, and you still want to do it, yeah, go for it, like whatever you have to do. But so many times there's like a holistic, natural way for your body to heal that because doctors haven't had that nutritional education, they don't even know to offer that to you. So that's really where, what I love about Isagenix when it comes to like biohacking your health is we offer the body for most things the ability to heal itself. And it's just been amazing. So that's why I love our products. I'll never stop using them. They're so good.
Yeah, that's so good. I remember those commercials too, where you're like sitting there and you're listening and you're like, that sounds awful. Like it sounds worse than the original problem. So that's where it's like the risk versus benefit, where you're like, okay, you know, is it worth it to literally be leaky butt all day, you know, to like, you know, when you could be trying some other things. So, yeah, I think that, medications have their place. You got to go to a doctor. Like there's so many doctors out there. And I know that some people are limited to what their insurance covers. Some people are limited because of distance. And so same thing with like therapists and stuff. Like there's so many therapists out there, but like some people are like, I live in a small town. We only have 2 therapists, like, you know, but we have telehealth now. We have so many other ways of being able to, to do different things. And there's so many things like that Gabby talked about with the sauna, you know, cold showers, ice baths, things like that. Like they're not exactly like fun sometimes if you don't like heat or if you don't like cold, but like really exploring and finding different modalities out there, you know, that just kind of calm that nervous system and get you out of that fight or flight. I was thinking like I've been looking into a lot of inflammation and stuff again. And I know we've talked about that in the past. We just talked about it last month, but like our bodies stay in inflammation and we always think of like, we'll take an anti-inflammatory, but there's only so much that can do. And so it's eating those anti-inflammatory, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. I'm just talking along, and there's anti-inflammatory foods, there's processes you can do to your body that like lower the inflammation, you know, response and stuff. And so
ice works wonders for it.
Exactly. Like, you know, and that's why the ice baths are good.
Exactly.
They, you know, lower down that body's inflammation. And so we don't always think about inflammation when, you know, we're going through our everyday day-to-day process, but, it's everywhere. So I'm going to bring up our product of the week here, which is Isagenesis. And this was something that we were talking about. We were hoping that wasn't going away. This is something that, the process in which they developed Isagenesis won the Nobel Prize because it helps to cap the ends of the telomeres, which is basically the DNA strand, you know, the helix, I think it's a helix, not helix, the, DNA strands that we've all seen on, you know, everything. This helps to cap those ends because they'll fray like a shoelace. And so I have heard some wild and interesting stories about how people felt after they've used Isagenesis. Now, these are typically from people that are only taking the Isagenesis. If you wanted to build a business just off of this one thing, you can do that from Isagenesis. Like I was talking to somebody, or I was talking to Noah yesterday about BIA and like, can you do an entire business off of BIA? And that one's, you know, a little bit harder because there's something to compare that to, right? So BIA can be compared to Red Bull, which is a lot cheaper. And some people only think about that. Isagenesis doesn't have a comparison. Like maybe there's something out there, but not something that has a Super Bowl commercial. You know what I mean? So Isagenesis is a standalone product similar to, you know, our nootropic. There's not a nootropic that's super, I know I'm super excited to try it. I was just thinking, I was like, gosh, like, am I going to get it now or should I wait? But like, I haven't quite gotten to that point yet with the new BIA. But, you know, there are collagens that are out there that are comparable, you know, and there's stuff that compares to our shakes, like, but some of our products in our line don't have a true comparison like Isagenesis. So you could build an entire business off of this. And there's a spa and salon here in, California, out in La Habra, that is, hold on, I'm going to see what this reel is over here. If I don't save it, I won't be able to see it. Elaine, celebrities and NAD. See, like, they need to be using our NAD. NAD is a buzzword more among the elite, the people that can afford it, right? But like NAD really isn't being, oh, I follow that guy, Patty Pop Culture. There is nothing else to, compare the Isogenesis to, is my whole point. So I am reordering it. I haven't been on it for a while, but I remember people saying that that was the only thing that they were taking. They were having weight loss. They were having, better brain function. They were having, people call it Botox in a bottle. They call it the Spanx, all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited to get back on it. I think I ordered it with my Ice Body. So we shall see. Anybody have any stories or anything that they love about Isogenesis? I can throw it in our chat. Yeah, because I lose stuff all the time in chats from Zoom where I'm like, where's that person's Calendly link? Well, I pulled it from a Zoom, so it's not in an email or in a message or anything.
You don't save it.
Yeah. So stop sharing. Anybody that's not on the call right now is probably like, is that spam? Nope. It's funny. So, all right, guys, let me go ahead and stop recording here. And if we want to chat for a few minutes, we can, but I can't stand for too long because I've got to get into work and I'm gonna have to start my meeting while I'm driving either way. So